There's something magical about plunging your hands into rich, dark soil. It's a feeling that connects us to the earth in a way that's both grounding and invigorating. For many gardeners, this simple act is the start of a journey, one that leads to vibrant plants, abundant harvests, and a deeper appreciation for the natural world. But what most people don't realize is that the real magic, the true life force of any garden, is happening out of sight, just below the surface. Beneath our feet, an entire world is bustling with activity. The soil is alive, teeming with organisms that work tirelessly to support the plants above. Among these, earthworms are the unsung heroes, quietly transforming the ground into a thriving ecosystem. The true engine room of a thriving garden is the humble earthworm. These remarkable creatures are often overlooked, but their impact is profound. Without them, our gardens would struggle to flourish. Earthworms are nature's master plowmen and nutrient cyclers, silently working to keep our gardens alive. As they tunnel through the soil, they break up compacted earth, making it easier for roots to grow deep and strong. Their constant movement helps mix organic matter throughout the soil, ensuring that nutrients are evenly distributed. Their tunnels aerate the soil, letting roots breathe and water flow. This natural aeration is essential for healthy plant growth, as it prevents water from pooling and allows oxygen to reach even the deepest roots. The intricate network of tunnels also helps prevent soil erosion and compaction, creating the perfect environment for plants to thrive. As earthworms eat organic matter, their castings become gardening gold, one of the best natural fertilizers you can find. These castings are packed with nutrients that plants need to grow strong and healthy. They also improve soil structure, helping it retain moisture and resist disease. In fact, gardeners often notice that plants grown in worm-rich soil are more resilient and productive. A garden full of worms signals a healthy ecosystem. It means your soil is alive, balanced, and capable of supporting a wide variety of plants. When you see lush, vibrant growth above ground, you can be sure that earthworms are hard at work below, creating the conditions for success. Many gardeners ask how to attract more worms, especially in new raised beds where the soil might be less inviting at first. It's a common challenge, but one that can be overcome with a few simple steps. The key is to create an environment that earthworms love, one that's rich in organic matter, moist, and free from harmful chemicals. Without worms, even the best soil can become lifeless over time. Compacted, dry, or chemically treated soil can drive these helpful creatures away, leaving your plants struggling to find the nutrients and air they need. That's why it's so important to nurture the life in your soil, not just the plants above it. So how do you turn your raised beds into a worm paradise? The answer is surprisingly simple. By adding plenty of organic matter like compost, leaf litter, and mulch, you can create a welcoming home for earthworms. Keeping the soil moist and avoiding synthetic fertilizers or pesticides will also encourage worms to move in and stay. Today, I'll share the easiest way to invite these underground heroes into your garden. With just a few mindful changes, you can transform your raised beds into a thriving, living ecosystem, one where earthworms and plants work together to create beauty and abundance. Let's dig in and discover how to make your soil come alive. Ready for the secret? The ingredient I bury in my raised beds to attract worms is cooked oatmeal. Yes, plain, cooked oatmeal, no fancy additives needed. I discovered this by accident after burying leftover porridge in a new bed. Weeks later, the soil was teeming with worms, richer and more crumbly than ever. The worms had found a feast and stayed to work their magic. Since then, oatmeal has become my go-to trick for boosting worm populations. It's cheap, natural, and already in most kitchens. The starches and sugars in oats are like a power bar for worms, encouraging them to gather and thrive. Burying oatmeal is a simple, organic way to make your garden the place worms want to be. Let's see why this works so well. Why do worms love cooked oatmeal? It's all about easy nutrition. Earthworms feed on decaying organic matter, but tough material takes time to break down. Cooked oatmeal is already soft and moist, like a ready-made meal for worms. It provides instant energy, so they swarm to it quickly. The moisture in oatmeal also creates a damp oasis, perfect for worms who need to stay moist to survive. As worms and microbes process the oats, nutrients like phosphorus, potassium, and nitrogen are released right where your plants need them. The result? Healthier soil, more worms, and stronger plants. Feeding worms oatmeal is a win-win for your garden. you're not just feeding worms, you're building a living, thriving soil. Now, let's get practical. Creating an oatmeal buffet for worms is a simple and rewarding process, but following a few key steps will make it much more effective and beneficial for your garden. Whether you're new to worm composting or a seasoned gardener, this method is a fantastic way to boost worm activity and improve your soil health. Start by selecting only plain, unsweetened, and unflavored oatmeal. It's important to avoid any oatmeal with added sugars, flavors, or preservatives, as these can harm your soil ecosystem and may even deter worms. Rolled oats or old-fashioned oats work best, but instant oats are fine as long as they're plain. Next, cook a small batch of oatmeal using just water, no milk, butter, or seasonings. Bring the water to a boil, stir in the oats, and simmer until the mixture becomes thick and stodgy. The goal is a dense, sticky texture that will hold together in the soil and break down slowly, providing a long-lasting food source for worms. Once cooked, let the oatmeal cool completely. Hot oatmeal can harm soil microbes and worms, so patience here is key. Spread it out in a bowl or on a plate to speed up the cooling process if you're in a hurry. While the oatmeal cools, scout your raised bed for the best spots to place your worm buffet. Focus on areas with compacted soil, or where you plan to grow heavy-feeding plants like tomatoes, squash, or corn. These are the places where increased worm activity will make the biggest difference. Using a trowel or small shovel, dig a hole about 6 to 8 inches deep. This depth helps protect the oatmeal from pests and keeps it in the root zone, where worms are most active and beneficial. Place a generous, fist-sized lump of the cooled oatmeal at the bottom of the hole. This concentrated food source will attract worms from all around, encouraging them to tunnel, aerate, and enrich your soil. Don't mix the oatmeal into the soil, leave it as a distinct lump. This makes it easier for worms to find and feast on, and helps you monitor how quickly it's being consumed. Backfill the hole with the soil you removed, gently patting it down to eliminate air pockets and keep the oatmeal securely buried. This also helps retain moisture, which worms love. Mark the spot with a plant label, stick, or stone if you want to check back later. This makes it easy to monitor worm activity and see how quickly the oatmeal disappears. For best results, repeat this process in several locations throughout your garden bed. Spacing out the worm buffets encourages worms to spread and work throughout the soil, improving the entire bed's structure and fertility. And that's it. Your worm buffet is ready to go. In just a few days, you'll notice increased worm activity and healthier, more vibrant soil. Now, let's dive deeper into how to prepare the oatmeal just right, so your worms get the best possible feast. The right oats make all the difference. Stick to plain rolled or porridge oats. Avoid instant sachets with additives. Add only water when cooking, no milk, salt, or butter. Aim for a thick, clumpy consistency that lasts longer underground. Let the oatmeal cool to room temperature before burying. Hot oatmeal can harm soil microbes and worms. Spread it on a plate to cool faster. Make a larger batch and store it in the fridge for up to a week. This way, you can add a scoop whenever you're gardening. Think of it as meal prepping for your worms. Simple and effective. Placement is key for maximum worm attraction. Create worm hotspots by burying oatmeal where it's needed most, like rows for hungry crops. 6 to 8 inches deep is ideal, deep enough to avoid pests, shallow enough for worms. Place the oatmeal as a single lump, not mixed in. This concentrated deposit draws worms from all around. As they feed, they naturally mix and enrich the soil. Cover completely and gently firm the surface. Mark the spot if you want to monitor worm activity. This simple act sets off a chain reaction of soil improvement. Now, let's see the results in action. Let me share the story of how a simple pantry staple, oatmeal, completely transformed my garden and the way I think about soil health. I'd always heard that earthworms were the secret to thriving plants, but I never realized just how much of a difference they could make until I tried this experiment myself. To test the power of oatmeal, I set up 2 identical raised beds in my backyard. One bed was prepared as usual, while in the other, I buried a generous handful of plain, uncooked oatmeal beneath the soil before planting. I wanted to see if this small addition could really attract more worms and boost plant growth. Both beds started out with the same soil, the same seeds, and the same amount of sunlight and water. For the first week or two, there wasn't much difference, but as the days passed, I began to notice subtle changes. The oatmeal bed seemed to retain moisture a bit better, and the seedlings looked just a touch greener. After a few weeks, the results were impossible to ignore. When I dug into the oatmeal bed, I was amazed to find the soil absolutely teeming with earthworms, sometimes more than a dozen in every forkful. The worms were clearly thriving, drawn in by the oatmeal, and they were working their magic underground. The soil in the oatmeal bed became darker, richer, and noticeably more crumbly. It held onto moisture longer, which meant I didn't have to water as often. The plants responded by growing faster and looking healthier than ever before. My spinach and radishes in particular were thriving. The leaves were bigger, the roots were plumper, and the overall harvest was more abundant. It was clear that the extra worm activity was making a real difference in the way my crops developed. Over time, the worm population in the oatmeal bed exploded, turning it into a permanent thriving colony. The worms kept breaking down organic matter, aerating the soil, and leaving behind nutrient-rich castings that fed my plants. Meanwhile, the control bed, without oatmeal, lagged behind. There were fewer worms, the soil was drier and less rich, and the plants just didn't have the same vigor or resilience. That simple experiment was all the proof I needed. Oatmeal, something I already had in my kitchen, turned out to be a total game changer for my garden. It was easy, affordable, and incredibly effective. The evidence was right there in the soil and in the harvest. Bigger, healthier vegetables, and a garden that practically buzzed with life beneath the surface. If you're looking for a simple way to boost your garden's productivity and create a living, breathing ecosystem, I can't recommend this method enough. Give it a try and see the transformation for yourself. Now, let's explore how you can adapt this oatmeal trick to fit your own garden, no matter where you grow or what you plant. Whether you're a beginner or a seasoned gardener, this oatmeal trick works for everyone. For new beds, bury oatmeal a few weeks before planting to jumpstart worm activity. For established beds, use it to revitalize compacted areas or boost heavy feeders. Apply once at the start of the season, and again in autumn if needed. No need to overdo it. A little goes a long way. This method works in raised beds, in-ground gardens, allotments, and even large containers. Just adjust the amount for smaller spaces. Wherever you want better soil and more worms, oatmeal delivers. It's a flexible, powerful tool for any garden. Now let's wrap up and start your own soil revolution. There you have it. The secret to a vibrant living soil is as simple as cooked oatmeal. By feeding worms, you're building healthy soil and stronger plants. Healthy soil solves many gardening problems naturally. This isn't just a trick, it's a step toward long-term garden vitality. Try it with your next batch of plain porridge, bury it, and watch your soil come alive. Get your hands dirty and see the transformation for yourself. There's nothing more satisfying than a worm-filled, thriving garden bed. If you found this helpful, join our community for more tips and guides. Share this with a fellow gardener and help spread the word. Happy gardening! Let's start a soil revolution, one oatmeal-fed worm at a time.